Good afternoon, YouTube, and welcome back to Fat Cat Collections. Got another Invicta for the collection, and today, this one I'm super excited about. Invicta always just draws me back in, and so I'll give you a little bit of a story. Here is the Venom watch that we're going to be talking about today. Venom is the Invicta Venom is the watch that started it all for me for collecting watches, right? For the most part, getting, I don't want to say serious because this is a hobby, right? This is not a business, you know, it's not like, but I mean, it kind of started the ball rolling for almost like an addiction. And although I don't buy a lot of Invictas anymore, you know, when I first saw this Venom watch in stainless steel, I still have it. I got it back in like 2011 or 2012. So if you folks were like, oh, Invicta's last 6 months, the thing is a tank. It still works. It's fantastic. It looks just as good as the day I got it, and I wore the hell out of that watch. The Venom is a watch for me that if you allow me to tell you a little story, I was always into the bigger watches, right? And nowadays, if we look at kind of like, you know, taste and style kind of, I don't want to say evolve, but they do change. And do I wear the large Invictas as much as I used to? Not as much. I typically wear the smaller watches. And when I say small, I don't mean small. I mean your standard size 42mm watches is kind of what I religiously wear around the house, you know, just kind of hanging out with my folks. So I'm sitting on the couch. I don't wear the larger stuff as much as I used to. However, it still gets wrist time, especially when I'm like going to go out to a casino. I don't even want to say like, it doesn't have to be a special occasion, but when I want to wear something that just kind of like screams, hey, look at me, Invicta is like the brand. And I don't mean that to sound like that's like I'm, you know, looking for attention all the time. And everybody's going to take everything you're saying, like, you know, twist it, manipulate it, and judge it. I don't give a fuck what you think of me. I really don't. I am who I am. I like who I am, and I like what I like. And so for me, I do enjoy, because I am into watch collecting, I like wearing a big watch. It gets noticed, and I like when people are like, oh, dude, what kind of watch is that? It's fun to kind of talk about your hobby. Now, when I used to frequent bars more, when I used to drink, I would go to bars all the time. And, you know, you're sitting at the bar, your arm's up there, it always sparks a conversation. And you get to know the bartender, you know. And when I had jobs in the past where I worked with a lot of coworkers and you dealt with people on a daily basis, you know, my job now is very independent. I don't see a lot of people. I'm kind of on my own. You know, there was a little bit of a fun where your coworkers get into it and, you know, hey, I'm getting this watch coming, you get to share it. You know, they let me borrow it, I review it. And Invicta really was, I had a lot of fun collecting Invicta, and I will always add Invicta watches to my collection. I'm always looking through their website. But, you know, I have over 50 in my collection. There's not always an Invicta I just want to add anymore. And frankly, I've mentioned in other videos too, I feel like their styles have become kind of like boring. I haven't seen them really come out with anything that really makes me say, oh my God, they have a new model, I got to get it. You know, I think the Helios was the last watch that really, it was a model I don't have that really made me want to get it. It was gold and green, and I kind of regret not getting it. It was like in the 280s. I should have got it. But when you have so many watches, it's almost wasteful in a way, because there's so many that I have that just, ones that I absolutely love that I forget I even have, and then I find it, I'm like, wow, I haven't worn this in 2 years. It's almost like, it's almost wasteful, you know? But, you know, that's kind of part of collecting. Collecting is about acquisition. It is about having more, whether you need it or not, right? And it's just something to kind of go back and look through and wear when you kind of stumble upon it again. And so let me give you a little story of this watch. I don't have a white watch in my collection. I've been wanting one. I've been looking for a couple months now. And, you know, Invicta had a couple that had, you know, white kind of carbon fiber bezels and white straps, but I wanted something on bracelet. So I was looking at some smaller, I think Armani makes one maybe. I think there's another brand out there I saw on eBay. I was kind of looking through like used watches on eBay done in white ceramic. And I still want to get a ceramic watch in white. But in the meantime, you know, I stumbled upon this. And this was on sale for like $180. And there was a rock bottom like Black Friday sale. And my mom and dad was like, hey, what do you want for Christmas? And I said, you know, this just went on sale for $98. Which is friggin' incredible because it's a Venom, and it's a watch that I absolutely love the design. I've never not liked this design. It's big, it's bold, almost an inch thick, 53mm if I remember correctly. But not just the size, it's just everything about it. The aesthetics are so cool in this watch. Now that is subjective, not everybody's gonna like these, but I absolutely love the Venom, and I always it seems like now you get Venom watches. They're always, like right now they have Venom watches on strap. Like just standard quartz movement like this, not chronograph, for like $69. And yes, you're not getting bracelet. You're not getting like a Ronda movement. You're getting, you know, you're not getting screwed on crown function pushers. But at the end of the day, who really cares? You're not even getting flame fusion crystals. But all this more simple stuff, non-screwed on crown function pusher, it only affects your water resistance. And even this still has 100 meters of water resistance. Again, it really comes down to personal preference of what you're going to be doing with the watch. Me, my watches get wet if I spill something on them, if I wash my hands, or I'm caught in the rain. The watches I feel more confident on that are more of like, you know, maybe screwed on crown function pusher models, I might hop in the shower. I might hop in the hot tub with them. You know, I know you're not supposed to do that, but I do it anyway. I wear my watches, I use them, I enjoy them, and I'm not too worried if they get scratched. Now, I will state, this watch is done, it looks like somebody painted it with white out. This watch is done in a aqua plating, and Invicta's been doing this for a while now. I don't know what the longevity is going to be like. When I size this watch, you know, you have to put a pin remover on here. I did chip a little bit of the white off the function push, not the function pusher, the pin. Not a big deal. That's going to happen when you're banging the pin back in. You know, it is what it is. So I don't know about the longevity of this finish. If you ask me, hey, how do Invicta watches hold up in stainless? I'm like, good as anything. Gold, amazing. I have so many gold Invictas. Black plating. I have a black plated Grand Octane. Super durable when it comes to the plating. Like I don't know how they apply that stuff, but this is a little bit different. This is an aqua plating, and I believe this is like dipped in water, and they pull it out, and this coating gets adhered to it. You can look up what aqua plating actually is. I should have looked it up before doing the video, but I know they use it a lot on like hunting stuff, like gun stocks and rifle scopes. I guess if it's durable enough for that, it's probably durable enough for a watch, but I will tell you that I'm not going to be wearing a leather jacket that has like a button on the inside, because I can see this wearing, and I can tell you that even kind of some of the areas, this is brand new, like there's already a little chip right here. Now, I don't know if that came from like me just wearing it around the house a little bit, or if that came from the factory. Not really sure, but time will tell on how well this holds up. But it's not going to be a watch that I daily wear. It's going to be a watch that, you know, is very summery, and when I feel like wearing a watch, it's, you know, maybe some white jean, black shirt, or, you know, whatever. However I want to accessorize my outfit, you know, I can do so with this white, just what's the word I'm looking for? Frosty watch. Love it. You know, it's very cool. Definitely, if you don't have a white watch, I encourage you to get one. It just has a really cool wrist presence that you're not going to get from stainless steel. So what do you go with this? 316 stainless steel. You get a TMI. I think they have the TMI V. Is it TMI? This is a quartz movement, but it's a TMI VD53. Mentioned in my other up close and personal video. Link to that's in the description, as well as a link to this watch. I like this movement better because it's quartz, but your main second hand actually functions. It's not stationary until you activate chronograph. So they did what I've been saying for many years, and I didn't come up with it. It's not my, you know, I didn't create this idea. I just said, hey, you know, why does Ronda make the main second hand the chronograph function hand? Why not make like the subdial? Because so rarely do you use a chronograph. Most of the time you're telling time. So I like that this watch, the second hand for the chronograph is at the number 6 position. The second hand is just for telling time. So great movement. I hope Invicta uses more in their watches, but no matter what they use, I really don't care. It's all about the watch. And this watch is every bit a Venom watch, other than the fact that they didn't use flame fusion, they didn't use screw-down function pushers, they used a stamped clasp instead of a milled clasp, and it is that's it, a different movement. So it's incredible. I love it. I'm not going to bore you too much with specifications on it. If you want to read more about those, and there's never tons of specs. Remember, when it comes to watches, there's not tons of specs. It's if you focus on the main check boxes I talk about when buying a watch, and it is subjective. You may have your own, you know, sapphire crystal may be super important to you. Great, then buy one with sapphire. But I'm here to tell you that it's not like this watch world tries to make it sound like if you don't have this feature, everything else is shit. And that's not the case. If you have sapphire, great. It's the most scratch resistant, but it doesn't mean you're going to easily scratch this. They're all really good. It's, you know, I always say quality is like once you hit good quality, then the differences are like this on a curve. They're not like this. And so no matter what you get, if you have good quality, then you have good fit and finishing, you have good movement. This is a good movement. It's not like the best movement, but it is more accurate than any automatic movement, right? So it's like if you're gauging what's good by accuracy, well then this wins even over like a luxury brand. So remember, ultimately buy a watch for what is important to you. For me, I can only tell you what matters to me, and that's number one, do I like it? Do I get excited? Do I want to wear it? That's number one. Number two is it 316 stainless steel? That's really the bulk of what I look for. Absolutely, I prefer if it has an automatic movement. What else? I think that's really it. If it has sapphire or not, or if this has mineral, I could care less because I've never scratched anything. Again, function pusher, screw down crown, screw down function pusher is great. If it has it, cool. If not, I don't care. It's not really something that's important to me. So I think a screw-on case back, which this has, is nice. I feel like cheaper watches have kind of a pop-on back, which is annoying to get back on. So I'd say that's another kind of checkbox for me. But if I like a watch enough, I honestly don't think I have any watches, maybe one from like the 80s that might be a pop-on case back. But for the most part, everybody's producing good fit and finishing. These watches are fantastic. Now, if you want to put this under macro lens and say, okay, if this was like, let's say a luxury brand did this kind of coating, let's pretend they did, then yeah, you might find some imperfections on this. But remember, $98, max price like $250-ish, is still an incredible watch. I've always said if you're getting Invicta reserve level piece, and I don't know if they actually call this reserve level, but when I compare this to my Invicta Venom reserve that I have, it's actually Swiss, right? And I know the designation is very loose. It's not much of a difference. I mean, aesthetically, of course, there's a difference, but overall quality, it's incredible. It really is incredible. And I can guarantee you that if you pick this watch up, and whether it's this color, you can get it in the mint, you can get it in the silver, or if you just find one for stainless steel, or if you get one on strap for like $69, I can almost guarantee you, again, I'm not gonna give you your money back, but with real certainty that if you go get one of these and you slap this on your wrist, and then you go into like a brick and mortar store and you go looking at watches that are 200, 300, 400, 500, you'll be blown away at how much bang for buck this company gives you. So that's it, folks. Let me show you some close-ups. Remember, check out my close-up and personal video I did on this watch where you can see the watch in its entirety. Today I just want to give you guys kind of like my classic format where I just talk about the watch. It is incredible. Let's throw on the wrist, because that's kind of what I do, right? 7-inch wrist. 53 millimeter case diameter, almost an inch thick. I think it's about 23 in the thickness. It is a beast. This is a watch though, based on design, at least for me, I have to wear over the ulna bone, because if I have it just the way that they've designed the lugs, it digs right into the ulna. And I will say that maybe I've just become kind of a bitch lately, but I never remember the other Venoms I have doing that. So I think maybe I'm a little not used to wearing this. But again, if you wear it a little bit over the ulna, your wrist may be different. It just depends on the person. It's not uncomfortable. It is just absolutely awesome. And I'll close on this. I said in my other video, I wear a lot of different watches, and this is just a reminder of how much I like the Invicta brand, and I'll never really get away from the brand. Because when I put on, like, even my new Bulova Precisionist I got, yeah, I'm really happy I got it. I love the watch. No matter what watch I put on, I wear it with pride. I enjoy it. But this watch, the difference is when I'm wearing this and I just look down at my wrist, I just see this giant bulk of stainless steel, and it just looks so cool. Again, that is subjective, but I love it. It's a great piece. The only thing I have to say about Invicta is I think watches like this are like one of their classic designs. It started me collecting Invictas. I think that they should make more mid-size because it's such a cool watch. The size will turn off a lot of people. And I know you can get a female's version. If you can find female Venom versions, they don't make a lot of mid-size watches. And I think if they just consistently made like this model, right? The Venom, it's a classic Invicta piece. If they made this in like a 44, 45 millimeter watch, just smaller mid-size, kind of like the Gladiator I picked up, I think they would sell a lot more watches. Because the thing with Invicta, these are really unique designs. They're very aesthetically, again, it is subjective, but I think very pleasing to look at. They are just too big for a lot of people. And, for me, great. That's why I like them. But I think if they made, like, I can tell you that if this watch was available in the white, in a mid-size, like 44, I probably would have went that route rather than the large one, just because I don't have a mid-size Venom. And there is something to be said about a very small, big, chunky watch. But hey, the cool thing is they're always coming out with new models, and you know, although this is kind of a redundant design, like it's not a new model, it is a new variation. And so it is always interesting that Invicta always can kind of draw me back in to something. And that's what's really cool about the company, and that they're always doing something that, you know, where I can't say that for Aragon. You know, Aragon, I'm kind of like, I feel like every one of their watches is just kind of redundant. It's like more of the same. There's nothing really that stands out to me that really makes me want to own. Now, if they do a white ceramic watch, I'll definitely be interested in that. But they haven't done that for, I don't think they've ever done that under the Aragon name. So, and they may surprise me. There are, I guess, a few that I think are like, you know, kind of unique. But they just have kind of, they're coming out the same old round 3-link bracelets, right? Same old round watch with 3-link bracelet. Whereas Invicta, you know, yeah, this watch is super unique. It's a classic. All of a sudden they come out with a bright white version, which I never would have looked at another Venom had they not done this in white. So go figure, right? That's the fun about collecting watches. You never know what's around the corner. And the fun of it is just adding to your collection. So check it out. I'll put the links in the description. If I can help anyway, let me know. Do subscribe to the channel. As always, happy, we're coming into 2026. Unbelievable. I feel like 2025 just started. Time is flying by, so enjoy every second of it, because tomorrow is not guaranteed. Thanks for watching, folks. Have a good day.